All right, let me take you back a couple months ago. It was October 2013, first month of college. I was taking a trade class and it was absolutely killing me. That night I stayed up till like 3, 4 in the morning just studying. I had a quiz the next day. So I was just up studying and I thought to myself like, all right, I could get a good 4 hours of sleep, 5 maybe, and take the quiz and I'll be all right. So I head to bed. The next morning around 7:30, my 2 younger siblings, a sister and a brother, they go to high school. They're shaking on my bed. And I'm like, oh, what the hell do you want? Like, wake up, wake up. Like, no, leave me alone. They're like, oh, take us to school. I'm like, no, like, ask Miriam, my older sister, to take you guys. Like, no, she's showering, she's showering. So I harvest all the energy I can to get up, get in my car. It was a 95 Jeep Wrangler. So they're built tough, they're solid cars. So I get in my Jeep, I'm like, all right, I'm like cussing left and right, just in a grumpy mood. I am not a morning person at all. It's a miracle I'm here. Like, I have no trouble staying up to like 5, 4 in the morning, but if I have to wake up at 7, 6, it's just, it's horrible for me. So I get in my car, and in my area, it's a elementary school and then a high school that I was going to drop them off at. And you can imagine, like 10 minutes before class, how absolutely packed it is. There's like cars, buses, everything. So I'm going just in a grumpy mood, like just yawning loudly, so they get the idea that I'm not happy to take them to school. So I go, drop them off, pull a U-turn, and I'm not exaggerating. This trip is at least a 10-minute trip because of all the traffic, and I live no more than a mile away from the high school. So I'm going, drop them off, pull a U. Going back, I clearly remember being behind a black truck. So I'm going, I'll be honest, probably not driving at the safest speed. I probably shouldn't have been going more than 35 miles per hour. I was hitting 40 sometimes. So I'm behind this truck, and keep in mind, I'm still like half conscious, half asleep. And the truck makes an abrupt stop. So I'm trying to react as fast as I can. My 2 choices were either slamming on the brakes and hoping I stop in time before I hit the truck, or just swerving to the right. My quick-minute decision was to swerve to the right. I swerved to the right, and I feel the car losing control. And the weight distribution in the Jeep is, they're not too long, but they're like tall, so the weight distribution is a little bit iffy. So I'm going to the right, I'm like losing control. I'm like, oh crap, like now I'm fully awake finally. So I'm losing control, and I'm like, damn, like no. So I'm like, all right, I just have to slam on the brakes and hope for the best. Hopefully I don't hit something or anyone. So I go to the floorboard, just smash my foot in there, and what I thought, I'm like, okay, just slam on the brakes. And I thought I hit the brakes, and I just hear the big engine roar, and I just hear it like, I'm like, I'm thinking, at this point, I have zero, like, control. I have no control of the car. I just feel like the car just thrusts forward. And I just remember closing my eyes, hearing a loud crash. And then I clearly remember opening them, like, touching my face, it's full of blood and glass. In the Jeep, the driver's seat's right here, your windshield is no more than, like, 3 feet far away from you. So I'm like, damn, like what the heck would just happen? Like I'm in shock, you know? I look up, there's like a big, like size that big, a circle where I smashed my face in the windshield. So I'm like, oh, like, no. In the Jeep, like, in high school I was known as the guy, like, oh, you're the kid that drives the Jeep. Like, yeah, like it was an old piece of crap, but like, you know, I love that car. So I look up, I'm like, oh, like, I hope I just didn't kill anyone. So I'm going through my driver's side, I'm like smashing, trying to get out, the doors jam. So I crawl out through the passenger side and I go to the other car, and the lady's already out. I'm like, oh, like, are you fine? Like, do you need help? And then she's like already out, she's like bitching at me, like, what the hell? Like, you damn teenager, you don't know how to drive. I'm like, all right, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, you know, have a little sympathy. Like, I was visibly injured, so I ended up having to stay at the hospital for 2 days. Luckily, I didn't have any internal injuries. Like, the doctor said, like, oh, like, you're very lucky, because people, like, that go, like, through that trauma did, like, break their collar, their neck. So I didn't have any internal injuries, but that day is the day I learned to not drive drowsy, and that anything material can be replaced, but life is precious. Thank you.